this motherfucker. God damn it. Hold on, everyone. This thing does the same thing every week. So, there we go. You guys know I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. I'm going to do sponsor reads a little bit different moving forward. So I will do some in the beginning, but I will also stop randomly throughout the podcast and do other sponsor reads, just so you know. But first, I'm going to start with one of my newest sponsors is going to be Camel City Mill Socks. I don't know if you guys saw my video. I have never been so excited about a fucking pair of socks. But I said this in the video. Everybody talks about what boots to get. You see in the groups, you see on social media, what kind of boots do you wear? What kind should I get? Blah, blah, blah. And I get it. Boots are very important because we're on our feet all day in HVAC. But I've never thought about the socks that I put in said boot. And I've seen all these wool socks going around, and I've heard they were awesome. And to be honest, how I got hooked on there, I got to give credit to my buddy Coolin with Kraus. I saw him in the video. I said, you know what? I'm going to give these a try. I bought some. I made a post about it, and then they reached out to me, and we were able to work something out. I have some more socks coming, and I'm going to try to give some of these away. That's how bad I think people should try these socks. I have been working with Mr. Zeke, that's actually in here, at his company, JC Warner. It's been amazing. I've been helping train some of the younger guys. I've loved every minute of it. But I've been out in the field. I've been help training. I've been out there sweating, grinding. And normally I would come home and my feet would smell like Bigfoot's nutsack. And no, I get home and my feet are dry. My boots are dry. That's amazing to me. Like, to me, that's worth it just there. But they're also some of the most comfortable socks I've ever put on my feet. So all I'm saying is you got to go out there every day. You spend all this money on boots, buy a couple of pairs of socks. Even if you get one, buy 6 pair, one for each day of the week and an extra pair while you're doing the wash. Trust me, it is worth it. If you go to their website, CamelCityMill.com, if you use the discount code Uncensored10, so Uncensored 10, you can save 10% on your order. So I was able to get you guys a discount code to save you a little bit of money. I'm telling you, go check out these socks. They're badass. It's made out of like merino wool. And I never thought that I would be this excited about a pair of socks, but damn, are they awesome. All right. Alrighty. Next one is actually, I'm probably going to have to open the website, but this is another new one. I'm going to show you guys as I type this up. So I want you to go to this link. So a friend of mine, Alec, he does HOMEPROS, which is it's kind of like a newsletter. It's digital, and he does an amazing job. If you're like me, you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the trades, state of the industry, what's going on with this company, what's going on with this, the new refrigerant, stuff like that. But I don't have time to be reading books and articles. I'm a busy guy. I'm doing things all day, and I have a big family. I love the way Alec and his team over at HOMEPROS does it. First of all, let me go back. This is 100% free. I will put the link in the chat, and it'll also be in the show notes moving forward. Absolutely free. This doesn't cost you a dime. Put in your email, subscribe, and this will get sent to you every time it comes out. I don't know if it's weekly. I'm pretty sure it's weekly. I should know that. No, I'm sorry. 5 minutes twice a week. It says it on there. But it gives you all this good information in small, bite-sized, digestible articles that you can read. You don't have to feel like you're sitting there reading a novel and taking forever. They get to the point, they give you the facts, and you can literally read 2 or 3 articles and be up to date on what's going on in the trade as of today. I think Alec does it amazing, and the fact that he does this for free is pretty awesome. So go give my friends over at HOMEPROS. So it should be readhomepros.com. I'll put the link in there. Like I said, it is 100% free. It costs you nothing, no credit card, no nothing. You put in your email and you subscribe, and then they will send you the newsletter automatically to whatever email that you put in. I highly recommend it. I have loved it. He actually did an article about me probably a few months back. That's how I met him. And I read his articles all the time, think they're absolutely amazing. All right. That being said, let's do the pledge. Get on shit. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States. And thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump night, another great fucking show for everybody. Thank you to everybody that's in here. Mr. Jason Johnson, one of my moderators. What is up, my brother? Freon Leon, what is up, my man? Mr. Nasty HVACR, what's up, my man? Sammy Andrew, what is up? Mr. Zeke Warner, what's up, boss man? And I think that is it for now. I apologize about last week not doing a show. I actually did not have a guest, and me and my wife never go out and do anything. So we got invited to go out for something on the 3rd before July 4th. So we ended up hanging out and going to do something. So it was actually a good time, but that's why I wasn't here last week. And I didn't do the hangout last weekend because it was my youngest daughter's birthday weekend and she wasn't having that shit. But I think I'm going to do the hangouts once a month. So I got to get the dates for right now. And then maybe after summer, I'll be able to do them a little bit more. All right. But with that being said, man, I have an amazing show for you guys tonight. And like the last time I did this, I talked to you guys about the HVAC visionaries. And I think it's a group of young guys doing absolutely amazing stuff, doing things in the trade the right way, but they show the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, we learn from our mistakes, and sometimes everybody shows all the good stuff, but sometimes they show the mess ups. But they're still getting to the younger generation, which is going to help our trade grow. So without me saying that, I didn't put his Instagram handle in the show notes, which is my fault. But guys, please put your hands together and help welcome to the show Mr. Snow King of HVAC, aka Mr. Logan Hooper.
What's up, guys? Super stoked to be here.
Thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Sick.
Yeah, I feel better to make sure. Snow King of HVAC. I could have made a so much better fucking show cover if I did that, but I got home late, so it happens. But I really do appreciate you being here, man. I guess I always start off is let everybody know a little bit about, you know, who you are, what you do, how long you've been in the trade, all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, my name's Logan. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I'm a service technician. Coming up on 6 years experience. Got 2 years of install and the rest maintenance and service. I absolutely love HVAC, obviously. Even the bad days, still love it. Always got me coming back. They got me in the rabbit hole now, so I'm stuck.
That's awesome, man. So did you start it in Denver, or so that's the only place you've ever done it is in Denver?
Yeah, so I moved out to Denver when I was 18. Growing up, just being in high school, I was, running with the wrong crowd, and just feel like I needed to get out. So me and my buddy moved out to Denver back in 2019 into 2018, and we moved out here mainly for the snowboarding. He was doing HVAC at the time. Some of you guys might know him. He works for Total Mechanical Solutions, and then it's Colton. Grew up together, really good friends. He's a super, super good guy, runs a super sick company, but we moved out here together, and he was working for one of the big companies out here and got me on as a helper, and the rest is history.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love that. Um, that's so. Do you like have a preference when it comes to service or install, or as long as you're doing it, you don't really care?
Um, you know, back when I first started, I really liked install. I started on like the learning the right way. Obviously, so like always learning like how to not only like build metal, but we were taking static from day one. So since I was the very early on being a helper, I was learning the right way of doing things. So I really liked doing install, but now that I do mainly service, and it's mainly just residential. I don't do any commercial, but I love service, especially because if anyone's from Colorado, they know that the amount of people running around out here just trying to sell unnecessary stuff and jacking stuff up. I love coming out for like second opinion, and that's super fun. But then also too, just having that challenge, like I'll fix that shit. Let me get on it.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I teach people, and the way I've always done, and I've said this a million times for people that listen to the show. I think you need to be good technically and a good communicator. I never say sales. If you communicate well with the customer, everything that you see, let them decide what they want to do, you know? But sadly, I agree with you. There is too many fucking people out there just trying to, sell snake oil or just sell stuff. And I think the more people like us that keep trying to do things the right way, eventually those people are, they're going to stand out like a sore thumb. So that's awesome that you got taught the right way, and that you continue to do that. Because sadly, too many young guys, like yourself, come in and they end up going to a bigger company because it's easier to get hired, and they learn the bullshit first. Then they have to go through and erase all the bullshit they learned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and on the sales thing too, I feel like HVAC is one of those things where you don't even have to be a good sales guy. Like just for instance, we had a tech, several months ago that I kept seeing. I'd come back on some of his jobs just to, whether to do maintenance or whatever. I kept seeing these estimates. I'm like, for like a capacitor or this or that. I'm like, how come you're not just doing them then? He's like, I'm just not that good of a salesman. And I'm like, dude, it's like when something's broken, it's like you don't have to sell it to them because they need it. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you do your job and you can back whatever you want to, give them, back it with numbers, explain it well. I mean, it sells itself. Like, dude, your capacitor's out of tolerance. Like, it's not really. If I'm out there on a maintenance and it's out of tolerance, it's like, dude, don't even call me out for maintenance if you're not going to do it. You know what I mean?
And that's the point of doing a maintenance, is to avoid breakdowns. And you
Correct.
can't, I don't care how good you do a maintenance, you can't avoid every breakdown. But if you don't say something, how good of a maintenance are you really doing? So one of the things I always say is we recommend you decide. So I literally tell the guys, everything that you see that is not 100%, it's not the way the manufacturer intended. And obviously, I'm not saying if it's a brand new contactor, but it's got like a little mark on it. That's not what I mean. But if you see things that could be a problem, just let the customer know, like, hey, this capacitor is weak. It's not bad, but it is weak. It's going to be a problem. Contactor's kind of burnt and pitted. Not a problem now, but it could be a problem. And then if they do it, great. If they don't, you just covers your ass. Because if they call back 2 weeks, Logan was just out here, my goddamn unit's not working. And then you go out there, it's like, well, remember, Logan offered you this the last time he was out here, but we were trying to avoid this. So I'm sorry that didn't happen, but we're more than happy to take care of it for you today. You just validate yourself. Now, the next time you go out and when you offer something, you better fucking believe they're going to listen to what you have to say.
Yep, totally. And even like I had a call like last week where I was out there. It was a contactor. It was pitted so bad it wasn't closing. Kept getting stuck. And I go and check his capacitor too. I'm like, hey, also like your capacitor is reading 0 on your compressor side. I don't know how your compressor is even starting right now, but it is. I was like, we should do this capacitor. He's like, well, before the contactor was having issues, it worked just fine. I'm like, bro, like, no, you need to do this right now. I was like, you'll be calling me literally after I leave. It's 0. Like, there's a 90% chance it won't work.
Yeah, that's crazy. Was there a hard start on it or something?
No, there wasn't. I don't know how it started at 0. I'm like, dude, it's kind of crazy actually.
That is crazy. I'm curious to how that started.
Believe it or not, it was a Goodman too.
Oh, the Goodman. Goodman's fucking. they're not bad stuff, man. It's all about how it's put in. I mean, there's some things I don't like about Goodman. I think their 2-stage units, especially the 16-SEER 2-stage, are fucking retarded. The ones without a contactor, they're just a pain in the ass. And then, the manufacturer's like, oh, you got to put a hard start on all of them. I'm like, okay, who's paying for that?
Yeah, it's like, how come you didn't go in the factory? I don't know if it's true or not, but someone told me, I can't remember who it was that told me that, but someone told me that they messed up whenever they were producing the equipment, and that's why they need a hard start. But yeah, I'll come behind like 3 or 4-year-old Goodmans that like compression not starting needs a hard start. And then I've called tech support a couple times. And I'm like, dude, like, what the heck? Like, what is this? Why do I keep running these Goodman units? He's like, oh yeah, this one, they all need hard starts on this model. I'm like, it's no sense.
Yeah, but I will say most of the Goodmans that were installed correctly, they work fine. It's like anything. I think they're good, especially good bang for your buck. They're good budget. But if I was going like inverter technology, just to be honest, Goodman's not there.
Yeah.
The only inverters that I would really fuck with, I would probably say are like, Lennox, Carrier, Train. That's kind of the big three are the ones. I mean, I've heard that Daikin's are decent, but I've never seen one myself, so it's kind of hard. I have one of the Lennox ones in my house right now, and every time I walk past it, I want to hump that fucking thing. I love it. I'm like, oh, what's that, baby? Sexy bitch.
What do you got? We're a Linux dealer, so I'm honestly, I love Linux.
Oh, well, they hooked me up. So I have what is it? The EL23 is what they gave me. So I got the EL23.
SOP 99.
What's that?
So do you got an SOP 99? It's a furnace. You're in Maryland, right? So I assume you guys have gas.
So I do have natural gas. So I have what is it? The SL 280 something. It's an 80%, and I just left it 80 because to run the flue pipes when I got in, I would have had to fuck the ceiling up in my basement. So I just kept it 80%. But yeah, I've been pumped, man, and I love. Have you seen their new like room sensors they have? Yeah. So
are you talking about the ones that pair with the S40? Is that the ones you're talking about?
Yes.
I haven't seen those, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I had never used them, but I got some for my house because really my house here is big enough. I should have 2 systems. So I have one 4-ton in here, which actually is fucking rocking and rolling. I'm not even gonna lie. So this house is pretty tight, but my house is like 5,600 square feet. So it's pretty big, but this thing takes care of it. I have fans in all the rooms upstairs, which I have a fan on me regardless, so it doesn't really matter. And it seems to maintain temperature, but I do think at some point I might do like one of the EL18s or something and just put a unit in the attic. So we'll see. But so far so good. Yeah, I've been pretty pumped. I was a Carrier guy for the longest time, just because all the companies that I worked for were either Bryan or Carrier dealers. Not my last house. The house before that, I had the Carrier Infinity units in there, and they were sweet. I love those too. But yeah, I love the Lennox stuff. I think it's good. I got not a bad thing to say.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about Carrier though is they've got pretty much everyone be on their communication stuff. Like their communication technology is just A1. I don't really like Carrier that much just for that service bulletin they've got on a lot of their I think it's an MCB series where it's like their secondary heat exchanger has the inner lining that fails all the time. I'm like, the fact that they sold it for like 6 more years after they knew about it, it's like I hate them for that, but it's a distributor. What can you do? They all got recalls.
Yeah, that's true. They all do. Yeah, and I hated that going around having to heat exchanger fucking issues, where you'd have ones that if God forbid the unit wasn't like either like perfectly fucking level or like tilted forward a little bit, the secondaries were filling up with water and fucking up. I was just like, it was always something. I do like their communicating stuff, and I do like I like the S40. Don't get me wrong. I actually really like that stat. Matter of fact, I don't know if I like that more than the Infinity one or not. The user interface, but they're both nice. I don't really know shit about trains. I'm kind of learning that now.
I've heard trains great, but I mean, I hate that like you can't access the blower without like undoing a bunch of stuff. It's just like I feel like that's the grudge I'll always hold against trains. Like I'd like to at least, check the wheel, but if it's like on a base or something and, it's got like a guillotine filter, it's like, dude, this thing's so annoying to check or to even like look at the wheel.
Well, or the air handlers like the TAMs, it's like, hey, we're going to take all the low voltage wires and we're going to shove them in this little tiny hole over here on the side. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. What fucking engineer thought about this stupid shit?
Right.
But I mean, Trane is good equipment. It always has been. My thing is, I think that when Trane got bought by Ingersoll Rand, that their commercial division has thrived. I think Trane's commercial shit is fucking rock solid. And I don't think that their residential stuff is bad. I just feel like, the research and development wasn't going in there for the longest time. So I feel like they were so far ahead of people, me personally, like in the early 2000s. And I feel like they let people catch up. And now it's kind of it's an even race. I felt like if they would have kept putting money into it, that they'd still be king dingling. And now they're not. Because when you talk about, and granted, most people don't buy these units, but when you talk about the most efficient systems on the market, it was, what was it? The SL25, and then Carrier came out with the 26. Then Lennox came out with the SL28, and now Carrier. So it's Carrier and Lennox going back and forth. Nobody else is even in the market. I don't know what Trane has now, but I know they keep getting moved up. Granted, there's only, what do they say? It's like 8% of the population buys, that stuff. And half of us are probably technicians because we just get boners on that kind of stuff. But most homeowners don't want it. But now that I have experienced inverter technology, I could never not have it in my houses.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one thing before we talk about Lennox the whole time, I also want to say that I don't know if any other brand has a 99% furnace. I think Lennox is the only one that has a 99% furnace, or at least they were the only ones that had the 99% because they've had their 99% for several years now. Dude, badass furnace, dude. Like it's sick.
Yeah. Well, the 99 is the low NOx one, isn't it?
No,
it's not.
No.
Yeah, we didn't do many of those, but I do know that their signature series furnaces are they're slick. I mean, they're
and so easy to work on, dude. Flame sensors right here. So easy to work on. I mean, like I know that there's just some models, like even like Trane, for example. There's just like, dude, doing something super simple is just so annoying. Like I'm sure you know about Carrier, the recalled Carrier, their service bulletin carriers, the MCBE series. They've had the flame sensors like under, like behind, like the inducer motor, like to the left, and like right where the flue pipe runs up through. It's like, dude, it's impossible to like clean the flame sensor. Like I have to charge someone like $150 to do it because I got to take the flue out or cut the flue. It's just so stupid.
Especially if they take that flue out the left side, you're like, you want
yes,
fuck.
I was like,
couldn't you go up or out to the right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that does suck. I know their heat exchangers got better. Carriers got better to change. Even on the 90%ers, because the secondary and the primary were all one piece. Because it used to be two. And if you were in an attic with a horizontal, I'd be in there like, fuck this. This sucks. I hate my life. Because I'm big on pulling heat exchangers. Because I feel like it's better for customers. That way it's not some picture on a text phone that he shows every customer the same fucking picture of a cracked heat exchanger. I'll take the fucking thing out and sit it on the ground and be like, hey,
really?
Yeah.
And you reinstall it too?
Yeah. And the more you do it, the better you get at. Like at 80%, I can have out and in 30 minutes.
Dude, I'd love to see that. I've never done a heat exchanger because I feel like I don't know. For one, I just never really done one. I've done a secondary on a Lennox a couple of years ago, but that's it. I've always just been intimidated to pull it out because it's like, I feel like I'm going to have to fill it up in like a tin can to get it out there. Like, especially like on the recalled ones where like, if I find a failed secondary, I'm like, hey, like this is an issue. We need to get this fixed. I'm like, technically Carrier will give us a free one to replace it, but I'm like, or to peel your furnace open to pull it out. But I'd love to see that, dude. I'd love to see pull it out because I would 100% start doing that. I've always just been scared of doing that, but if it's the possible thing,
I'll make a video. It's like anything, and I was the same way. I was intimidated by it until the more I started doing it, the better you you get at it like anything else. And it's really not that bad. And some people don't touch 90s, maybe certain brands, but some of those, I'll pull those motherfuckers out. It's just an 80, you can pull it out without touching the blower. A 90, you got to take the blower out, obviously, in order to be able to pull it out. But it's not bad. And I figure if you're doing a thorough maintenance, take the burners out, clean them, take the inducer out, clean that out. So once you take some of those components off, the only thing left's the fucking gas valve. You know what I mean? So it's not really much after that. I'm actually curious, you being in Denver, is there some shit you see out there that we don't see in the rest of the world? Because you guys are, Rocky Mountain out there.
No, we got a lot of boilers. We got a lot of like ceiling fan coil units, like in condos and apartments. We're only recently starting to do a lot of heat pumps. Just because heat pumps have a bad rap in cold climate like ours because it just gets so cold in the wintertime. But dude, heat pumps all the way. Like, dude, I'm not like an all-star heat pump guy because I just don't work on them all the time because it's mainly just air conditioners, furnaces in the basement. But as far as the company that I work for, it's just a small mom and pop shop. We're about a 90% heat pump company. So if we're going to come in and replace your system, 9 times out of 10, we're coming in with a heat pump for a lot of rebate reasons. But then also too, even if you go with just like a base model heat pump that cuts out at 30, 35 degrees, badass, dude. Dual fuel is super sick. But yeah, a lot of boilers, stuff like that. We run into a lot of like high altitude issues. Like as far as, are you familiar with NCI? National Comfort Institute? They do like a lot of training stuff. So we had them because they've come out to Denver, and honestly, we got a pretty good relationship with NCI just because we take all their classes. We'll have the whole company come out for their classes and stuff. But we got into like a lot of their airflow classes, and when they start talking 400 CFM, I'm like, well, what do we do out here at 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet? It's like, are we supposed to be doing something different because the air's thinner? He's like, oh, let me get back to you guys on that. So we end up getting back with them, and 480 is what we're setting our stuff to. It's also super dry out here. We're a high desert. So 480 is kind of what we're setting a lot of our stuff to. 450, sometimes I'll set them at 450 if we're trying to do a little more dehumidification work. But a lot of times it's just not needed. 480 is smacking, dude.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool to know because you don't think about that in different areas. So that's pretty awesome that happens. And NCI classes, I've taken their duct classes and airflow, and it's amazing. You learn some awesome stuff, and a lot of what I thought I knew, you throw out the fucking window because I was like, oh, did the guy get you where he tells you to try to, suck out a lighter?
So with the draft or what?
So what they were talking about, I don't want to say this wrong. It was how normally we think like when you design a system, it's like, oh, well, it's got to be like individual room returns and it's all about sucking the air back in. It's better than, big like generalized returns, which I still like room returns, but he was like, it's about positive and negative pressure.
Yeah.
He was like, it's about eliminate. He's like, yes, we're sucking air in. He's like, but, and he said to a guy, he's like, I want you to take a lighter and try to suck it out. You can't. You're not getting enough force to be able to do that. He's like, the whole point of the return is to alleviate pressure from the system. So, with static pressure. And he said it way smarter than I did, but I was just like, my jaw dropped and I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. And I love that, man. Even 20 something years in the trade, like I love learning new things, and that's why I tell people I don't know everything when I'm training a guy. If God forbid, normally they ask basic questions, but if God forbid they ask a question I don't know, I'm like, fuck it, let's learn this shit together. You know what I mean? Like I'll learn something new. So you guys, like, how hot do you get in your summers out there? Are you getting like 90 plus or?
Yeah, so there's 95. Thursday, Friday is going to be the hottest day of the year. We're going to be hitting 100. But that's pretty much it. Usually I don't get any higher than that. And usually it's only a couple of days of the year. But you'd be surprised, dude. Like bougie people are here in Denver. Dude, like people, it's like, dude, it's 80 degrees outside. They're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's just like, I walk in their house and it's like 74 degrees. I'm like, dude, this is like so mild. It's like not even funny. Cause like back in, cause I'm from Kansas City, and in Kansas City, it's like so humid. It's just like, I can't do like the humidity. So it's like, it's way, way worse. Obviously like 80 degrees at 90% humidity is horrible. And then come out here and it's dry. And then at 80 degrees, I think it feels great.
Yeah, no, I bet. That's one thing about Maryland that so it's been hot. We've been up in the upper 90s, but it does get humid as fuck here. So the humidity is what gets it. Like, if it could be like, obviously not for trade wise, but if like 75, I'm good. That's perfect. But obviously nobody calls when it gets 75. So technically the market you guys have, like, you're more heating based. Like, your company probably makes more money off heating than air conditioning.
No,
No?
it's cooling season is where it's at, dude. I mean, like, I'll tell you, business is booming right now. Just as far as, I mean, like, it's hot, dude. Like I said, a lot of bougie people here, a lot of people from all over. Especially a lot of people from California. They're just like, hey, I don't care what it takes. I mean, I'm sure you know this too, but people will go without heating before they go without cooling. I mean, it depends on how cold it is, obviously. But I mean, they're like, hey, no, I need my air conditioner fixed. Whereas if their heating's down, they're like, yeah, we can get some blankets down until we figure out what we want to do, whatever. But it's like, hey, cooling's out, get it fixed. I don't care. I need it done. So I mean, it's you'd be surprised. It's pretty crazy right now. I mean, even at like 95 degrees, like it's pretty hot.
Yeah. So you guys, like your summers, like, so is it kind of like here in Maryland? Sometimes you get lucky with May, but normally May is kind of and normally you get June, July, August. That sometimes you get September, but you got 3 months of summer that you gotta bang it out, and that's got to be those 3 months decide whether you end the year in the green or the red.
Yep, exactly. Nope, same thing here. I mean, end of May this year was busy. June was absolutely crazy. As of July, we're not like super slow or anything. We're packed, but we're not like pushing 70 people away a day or anything anymore. Whereas June, that was it. I mean, we were turning. There were some days where we had to turn to around 40, 50 people away. Whereas like now it's like, hey, I get my 5 calls a day. I'm booked out for 2 weeks, sort of thing. But yeah, usually about end of August, September starts tapering off a little bit. We start hitting low 80s, and it slowly starts coming back down from there. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the wintertime, it gets cold. It's super cold. I mean,
well, that's why I was thinking that, because there it gets so cold that people really can't go without when you got 6 feet of snow out there. So when does winter technically start? Like, what months is technically winter for you guys?
I'd say we're getting close to winter, like November, and then December we're full fledged in winter. But there's also like a big misconception too, because like Denver doesn't get a ton of snow. I mean, we're at high altitude, obviously, so we do get a decent amount of snow, but it's the mountains that get dumped on. You go 45 minutes in the mountains, and it's like they've got a couple feet of snow all winter long. Denver doesn't get that bad. Like, we'll get a couple blizzards, like at worst, like we'll get 2 or 3 blizzards like a year. Last year, like winter was honestly pretty mild. Like, we had some cold days, don't get me wrong. Like, some days we were hitting 0 degrees and whatnot, but yeah, it wasn't like super, super gnarly or anything.
Yeah, Maryland, it's like we just have long falls that go into spring. Winters have sucked here the last couple of years. So you got to make it, you do a lot of maintenances, but I mean, they start to run out, then, what the fuck do you do then? Yeah, no, that's wild. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought that you guys would have been balls to the wall in the winter time. So that's cool. That's cool to learn that.
Yeah. I mean, the mountains are like, there's a lot of like, in the mountains, like pretty much all they have is boilers, just because it's so reliable, so efficient. A lot of custom homes, like a lot of mountain homes are sick, dude. They're fully custom homes with, radiant floor heating. Those guys, like a lot of the mountain guys, are really, really good boiler guys. Like I wouldn't be able to touch them as on boilers, but those guys for sure are running nonstop. But then again, it's like when you got 3 feet of snow on the ground, it's like no one's coming to your house. Like, no one's got a snowmobile they're pulling up in with their pack outs or anything. You know what I mean? So it's like when they get dumped on like that, I mean, they're not getting service either way.
Yeah, that's what Kraus would do if he was out there. Be pulling up in a fucking snowmobile, pulling all his fucking Milwaukee pack outs. That's crazy. So Denver, so technically what cities are higher than you guys in Colorado? Because I remember flying in, I think one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen was flying into Denver's airport and just seeing the mountains behind it. one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah. So as far as like what gets above us, I mean, so Denver's like the main hub. We've got a ton of suburbs around Denver, just like any other big city. But then you go about 30, 40 minutes into the mountains, you're getting towards Golden. And once you get into the mountains, you're going to have like, you're going to have Idaho Springs, you're going to have Georgetown. All of those are going to get up to about 8,000 feet pretty quick. Because as soon as you hit like the main highway, I-70, you're climbing quick. It's pretty steep incline, and you're climbing altitude really fast. So as far as like big cities like in the mountains, I mean, they're all relatively small. I mean, just because like when you start getting to like the mountains, it's just like all pretty isolated. Like, hey, not only do they get super dumped on in the wintertime, so it's just hard to do anything in the wintertime because they just get so much snow. But then also too, it's like, all the traffic is down here in Denver because it's just, the big city. You got a million people down here,
Yeah. How far is Aspen from Denver?
Aspen, I want to say it's like 2.5 hours ish. Have you been to Aspen?
It's a bunch of like, I've never been there, but I had friends that went and they said it was a bunch of snobs.
It is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one that they thought was
3 hours,
but I forget.
3 hours, 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you get into some of those places up there, dude. I mean, the snob is like not even the word for it, dude. We don't go that far. We go about an hour around. So like we'll barely like get in the mountains hardly at all. But then again, like up in the mountains, dude, like you're far from like any parts houses. There's not like any parts houses close up there. If you need something, I mean, it's just a pain in the ass to actually do a ton of work up there. If we got like a custom job or something, yeah, we'll go far if we need to, but we won't go that far for like a service call or anything.
No, that's cool. That's cool to know. I mean, obviously, because I don't know. Everybody thinks Denver. You think, especially as a football fan, Mile High. It's automatically cold. So to hear that's cool. I like learning that. So this is not HVAC related, but I got to ask somebody that lives in Denver. Do you think all that shit about the airport is true?
100%. Before I moved to Denver, dude, I always believed that, dude. But then, like, have you seen that? You've seen the horse, right?
Oh yeah,
dude. Creepy. Like, I don't even know what the point of that was. It's like some devil horse out. But then, like, I don't know. I was like, went down that. I don't know if you've been down that rabbit hole of that airport, but it gets pretty gnarly. They're talking about how, there's all this money they'll spend on construction, but like during evaluation, only about a quarter of it was actually, foreseeable on the surface. And yeah, I mean, I could see it, dude. I mean, that's the point about like Colorado is like, there's a lot of military bases out here. Like, I don't know if you know what the Eisenhower Tunnel is, but so pretty much like when you're going on the main highway, like through Denver or from Denver to the mountains, it's like one of your only like highways through there. You can go like side roads and whatever, but the main highway is I-70, and you have to go through this tunnel called the Eisenhower Tunnel. It's just this big tunnel. It takes like a minute to drive through. It's like just go straight through a mountain. Well, I actually had a buddy that his mom used to work there, and it's literally just a tunnel, but she said that the tunnel is 50 floors down, and that past level 3 is classified. You have to be government to go past level 3. So consider there's 50 levels of this random tunnel. There's all kinds of like military stuff for one, but then also too, it's like people say that Colorado is like the safest like state in the country as far as like military attacks. Like if there was another country that was going to invade, Colorado is one of the safest. For one, we're at altitude; it's hard to even get here. But then we're like in the middle of the country, so a lot of like nuclear like rockets and stuff are stored out here. Bases all over the place. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, dude. I 100% think so.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I watch, and it gets me is like they don't even like deny it. Like they kind of let the stories go, and it's funny. And I'm like, because I have went down the rabbit hole watching some of those things. That's
right.
pretty crazy. And obviously, living in Maryland, being close to DC, there's bases galore around here too. I mean, I have Andrews Air Force Base that is like right down the street. So I grew up near BWI Airport, which is Baltimore Washington International or Baltimore Washington Thurgood, some bullshit now. But you would just see. So I'm used to living near an airport, but you would see like commercial, airlines. Mm-hmm. Obviously around here, I'm seeing like fucking fighter jets flying. I've seen Air Force One fly over because that's where it's kept. And sometimes at night, you see some gnarly shit in the sky, and I'm just like, I don't want to know what the fuck that is. It sucks. I can't always fly my drone here though.
Yeah, because you're like too close to military base.
Yeah, they won't let you because it has to be. Sometimes I get approved, but sometimes like now you can't even take off. It's not like, oh, fuck them, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah,
So that
FBI will be at your door.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of blows, for that. But yeah, no, that's fucking that's wild, man. That just kind of still blows my mind. Thinking about Denver, that it's not as cold as I would think it is. So I mean, you might.
I mean, it gets cold. Don't get me wrong, but like I think Missouri was probably just as cold. I mean, the Midwest got pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, when I went to Kansas City with my dad on a business trip years ago, I didn't realize that there's a Kansas City, Missouri, and a Kansas City, Kansas. They're right across the river. I didn't know that.
Yeah. We don't like them. We don't like the Kansas. Missouri and Kansas don't like each other, and like that's the one city that goes across. It's just like, yeah, I don't like Kansas City, Kansas. I'm from Missouri, and then Kansas City, Kansas doesn't like Missouri.
Yeah,
but I mean, Missouri in general, I'm not gonna lie, Missouri just kind of sucks because there's nothing to do out there but like shoot guns and ride 4-wheelers and go hunting. It's just it's cool. I mean, but there's just not anything to do.
Yeah, well, I know, like being from the Northeast and everything is kind of smashed together and traffic everywhere. We were at one of the steakhouses, like up on the top of a building or something. It was like a top floor was a steakhouse, and it was like 5. It's like rush hour, and you look out and you see no traffic, and they're like, yeah, because it's spread out here. It's not like
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's fucking awesome. That's why I love seeing like new places and experience different things. When all you know is Maryland, because really, I mean, this is my home state. I love it, but Maryland sucks.
Yeah.
And plus, like Denver's cool with or just Colorado in general. Obviously weeds out there, but plus, aren't they doing all the stuff with like the taxes? Like the actual money is actually going to like good stuff.
They say it is. I don't really know how true it is. I mean, I usually don't stay with politics too much just because I'm so in love with HVAC and stay so busy, But I mean, that's what they say. Yeah, everyone says the taxes are super great, but taxes are taxes,
Yeah,
they're taking my money either way.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, man, I never used to pay attention, but now I do, just because I want to. We get taxed so much that if you break down how much every single dollar is taxed, it's fucking disgusting. So that's why I love like having a business and the podcast and things like that. Like I tell people, like even like your social media, create an LLC for it, even if you don't make a bunch of money or whatever, but you start to write things off and get tax breaks. And I started learning that kind of stuff. Like if I go on vacation now, it's a business retreat. My tax guy's like, you guys were talking about the podcast, right? I'm like, yep, sure were. Yep, damn right we did. He's like, yeah,
it came up.
Yeah,
it came up a time or two.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I feel like we went off on a rant here about everything but HVAC.
HVAC Nate wants to know what's the highest point you've been for a service call? Do you mean like my altitude? The highest altitude that I've been to is like for a service call was like 7,000 or 8,000 feet. Yeah, 7. Yeah, I think it's like 7,500, 8,000, maybe somewhere in there. It was just a boiler. I can't remember what it was, but most mountains or most like mountain homes are on LP, and they're majority boilers. They got some furnaces out there, but majority is boilers.
So is there a lot of propane boilers?
Up there, yeah. Here in Denver, no. I mean, I've maybe seen propane like 2 or 3 times.
You're talking about the carrier furnaces, and I think all 90% do, but the carriers, if God forbid somebody is lazy and doesn't change the orifices, I'm talking 2 weeks. 2 weeks of nonstop heat, and that secondary heat exchanger is fucking clogged to a T. You get that smell. The top's hot. Because I used to always tell people, I'm like, the top of a 90% furnace should not be hot to the touch. The hottest point of the heat exchanger should be 6 to 8 inches inside. So if you touch the top and it's hot as fuck, secondary's backed up. Problem solved.
Yep. Problem solved. Need a new one.
Yeah, I had a carrier texting boards guy tell me that. What did he say? See some. Getting high doing HVAC, LOL. Not that kind of high. um, Dan, yeah, what's up, Nate? Dan, he says, Logan, my man. Oh, and hi, Gil. Jesus, man. He's.
I love you, Nate. Just work. What's up, Rodolfo? I love you, brother.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so let me ask you this. So you got into the trade, but I like to ask this, like, so it's a two-part question. How did you become part of the HVAC Visionaries? And what made you say, I'm newer in the trade, but I want to put this stuff on social media?
Well, it started with the HR of 2022. Which one was Atlanta? Yeah, Atlanta was 2 ago. So that was my first AHR. I went there and just kind of like saw like the game. Like I saw obviously everybody that I went to the tactical award show.
Oh,
was all over it.
You mean this one?
Yeah, the award winner.
Atlanta.
Yeah, that's my first one though. Like I saw everybody like, super into it, and I knew I had a social media, but it wasn't like I didn't post on it. I didn't have I had like 50 followers or something. I'm like, dude, like this is so sick. Like I want to be a part of this. So started doing it. Started just making content, just whatever I had. Like, oh yeah, I'm cleaning this condenser. I'm gonna shoot a quick little video or do this or do that. I've always been pretty tight with Garrett and Efren and Adam. Like I've always just talked to them, slip on their stories or whatever. And then I don't know, they just like hit me up. I honestly don't know why they asked me to. Because I don't feel like I'm that interesting, but they asked me like, "Hey, dude, you want to join?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, dude! I think that'd be sick." So I was, just went ahead and joined them. And then as far as like the social media stuff, I think the only thing that really like made me want to pursue it and actually like take it serious and do it was just the fact of like, for one, I think it's enjoyable. Like I used to be like a big skater too, and obviously I'm a big snowboarder too. So I always like enjoy like making edits of like like either like doing stuff on like a skate day or up on the mountain like making edits and stuff. So it's like I think it makes HVAC more enjoyable to like to make videos and edit stuff. I think it's cool, but then also too, it's like it's sick to have someone else watch my work and become friends over that. And then also too, like helping people, even if it's something simple, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. I like how he did that. I think that's super cool. But then also like, even like trying to attract people to the industry, I'm only 24, so I feel like I have an okay reach, get into the younger generation, but like, even like young kids that like I'll come in contact with, like, oh, like, what are you going to college for? Are you going to go to college or anything? Like, no, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Well, I do HVAC. You should check out my Instagram, if you want to know what the work is like and what we do. And like a lot of like younger people in general have like the misconception of like the trades. Like, even when you think of like a plumber, they think of, oh yeah, this guy's fixing the toilet. He got his crack out. It must be our miserable life. I don't think kids understand the kind of money that's in the trades. I'm like, I know people that are multimillionaires that didn't have nothing, grew up dirt poor. Like even like my boss, I mean, he did not grow up rich like whatsoever. But from the ground up, learned the business, owns a business, has a well running business, and like there's some money in the trades. I don't think some of these kids have an idea what this really is.
No, and robots can't do our job. So we're always going to be needed for the foreseeable future. I agree with you 100%. And so I respect people that put their work up because 90% of social media, especially Facebook, I don't see it as much on Instagram, but Facebook, it's always like somebody shares something and it's like, you piece of shit. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. But they never share their work. So just somebody who shares their work, I have respect for because you're putting it out there for the masses. God knows what they're going to say.
I love that though.
Yeah. And when you do the good and the bad and, I love it. And I love seeing younger guys like you in there because I do think that some of you are going to be more attractive to the younger generation than guys like me in their 40s. Not saying we can't be, but when you have that little bit of everything, I think that that's definitely going to help because we need that. We need to make the trades be more alluring and we need to let them know, like you just said, that you can make serious money because if you don't have a family member in the trades, which more of these podcasts I'm doing, hearing people's stories, there's a lot of people that it's not the typical, oh, my dad did it, my uncle. They're like, yeah, I needed a job. This place was hiring. I went to work there and 10 years later, I'm still fucking doing it. Which is awesome. So I think the more we get that out there and let people know, the more we can help our trade because we're still in a shortage of technicians.
Yeah, bad.
So if you're good at your job, you have job security by you helping somebody else. You're not going to hurt yourself. Like that whole mindset, I think, is just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think the social media game helps everyone level up too. Like I just think like seeing like your friends do some badass work, and it's just like, dude, like I want to be on that level, and like, oh, I see him doing this. Oh, he's doing this. Whenever he's doing this kind of repair, like I should try to do that too. So I feel like the whole entire like just social media game in general helps all of us level up. And it's like you said, like there is a lot of hate and stuff. I mean, honestly, I like the hate, to be honest, just because like I don't really care. Like if someone's trying to fry me on like something that I did, it's like I grew up in the Xbox days, where you would just fry each other on Xbox. So it's like I don't care, dude. I'll cook you in my own comments. Well, like a lot of people don't understand too is like the haters in your comments and stuff fuels your views a lot. So whenever someone says something about your comment, you respond back to it immediately and get a conversation going between you. That fuels your algorithm a lot. So it's actually a good thing. They're helping you a lot.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And half these guys are like that are commenting are rookies that don't even know what they're doing. I mean, they think that there's some super hot tech or some service tech. Oh, I would have done it like this, done it like that. But it's like, dude, like who cares? Like as long as you have great customer satisfaction, you did it the right way. You do it to last. Who cares?
Yeah, those are the guys. I changed 6 capacitors today.
You charged them more than $100 for that capacitor? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I told my business is gonna be closed next month.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't have a fucking charge, and yeah, no, that's crazy. No, and I do believe that, but I feel like social media has turned into what the news was when I was a kid.
Straight up.
And going to politics, people are getting their information from politics. Like you hear people now, they're like, "Oh, I thought Trump said that and Biden said it." Oh, I thought he said it, but he said it, because that's how people are getting their information. So I feel like the more of us that put that out, the better it's going to be for the trade as a whole. And I do agree. The same thing you just said is it raises the bar, because if you have pride in what you do and you see people doing things, you're like, fuck, like that's badass. Like, if I do an install or a service call, I need to try to do this. And you're either going to raise the level of what you're doing or you're going to fall the fuck off. It's that simple. And the more that becomes the norm and we keep doing that, we're elevating our trade. That's why I love this community. Obviously, Ben, Ben Poole. Ben is my fucking brother. And I just love this whole movement that the whole tactical awards and stuff created. Mm-hmm. And I love all the people I've met. Some of my best friends in the fucking world I met because of this podcast and because of HVAC, and they don't live in my state, but they're people I talk to a couple of times a week, and like AHR, like we were talking about, I think we were off air and we were talking about that, but obviously I love going there for the HVAC stuff and seeing all the different tools and the brands, but I just love seeing my friends, man. Like it's just, I love getting to hang out and keep building those relationships. And every year I get to meet new people. So this year we can actually meet in person, and I'm not going to get stoned. So I actually remember everything.
Or we could. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, true. Let's get stoned. Fucking. But yeah, it's I meet new people every year, and it's awesome. And it's one thing people, like somebody said something, who is not, they're on social media, but they're not an influencer of any kind. And they came to, I forget, one of the tactical awards dinners. I don't know if it was the last one or maybe it was Atlanta, the one that you went to, but they were like, they're like, you know what? I see all these people that I follow on social media, whether it's YouTube or whatever it is. And I thought that these people would have some kind of ego, the fact that they're so popular, but nobody does. I'm like, no, dude, it's all regular blue collar people that are down to earth. And that's why it's so awesome, man. Like you meet everybody and everybody is cool. And I love that when people say that about me. They're like, oh, when I meet you in person, you're the same as you are on the podcast. I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm not going to change who I am. Like, that's, yeah. I always said that if I got to change who I am to do a podcast, I'm not fucking doing it,
Yeah. Yeah. And back on like Ben, dude, Ben is such a cool dude. Like whenever I joined the Visionaries and he asked if I want to be in that You remember that magazine that he put at everybody's chairs at HR last year? He asked me if I want to be in it. I'm like, dude, like, I think it's just so cool. Like, someone that Ben now has a platform and has such a following for this platform, his magazines and everything. He could very easily just take all the credit for himself. This magazine's about me, what I do, whatever. But like, Ben is like so sparing of wanting to put everybody on. I feel like that's just like the coolest thing ever. It's like, you give that into anyone else's hands, and they're like, oh yeah, this is like my thing. I'm doing all this, and the magazine's gonna be all about me and what I do. But like, he wants to like share and like spread it to everyone else in the trade. Even someone like me that's a nobody. It's like, hey, dude, like, you want to be in this? You want to be a part of this? Like, I think that is just so cool.
Yeah, I love Ben, man. He's plus, even though I have foul language and Ben's been helping me with that, we're both very strong in our faith and our Christian beliefs. And yeah, and if you ask him about the magazine or something, he will name you every other person who has done something before he ever says something about himself. If he says something about himself, I agree. I do love that about him. And that's why when people, I got to be careful, but I'll always defend him because he's my fucking man. And when people are like talk about the tactical awards, they'll make some kind of negative comment like, "Oh, so and so should have won this award," or "I didn't like this," and I'm like, man, if you knew the amount of work that man puts in to make that shit happen, you would never say that. So that's why when people make dumb comments, I'm ready to beat the fuck out of them, just because I know the work that he puts in. So like, last year, after it got done, maybe Ben took a week and then he's already working on the one in Orlando. Like, that's how much time it takes. So, yeah, people are stupid. And I know you got to let that stuff happen. But if I see somebody say something, I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But it is what it is.
The people that hate on it, though, there's aren't like a big part of it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, the people that hate on it's like, dude, you're not like really even a part of it. So,
No, and that's like people that don't.
And it's not like it's a closed door or anything. Anybody can come in, but the second that you're a hater or you like talking shit or whatever, it's like, cool, man. Well, you never were with us to begin. You know what I mean? Anyone can come in. The door's wide open for everyone to be a part of this. But the second that you start bashing on other people, bashing on the movement that's going on, it's like, yeah, cool. We'll see you later, dude.
Yeah, no, and especially just seeing where they've come, like going to the first one, like first it was internet only, and then going to the first one at that Italian restaurant in Vegas, which was awesome. Now seeing what it's turned into with like red carpets and stuff like that, I'm like, this is amazing. And then the fact that I got to win an award, which I never thought that I would, to be honest, and that's not me just like that's the truth. And I've been pretty lucky that I was able to win. And then last year I was able to present the award to one of my best friends in the world, Tersh, for what he's done. Because people don't realize that Tersh has been a pioneer as far as like a bunch of us being able to podcast from these podcast pavilions at AHR. Like, that's because of him, man. Walking around with a fucking little microphone and a wheelie thing, doing things in the booth. And then they finally, we're like, hey, maybe we should do this. And I feel like, and I know, I always say that, but I feel like people should know. People should know that these guys paved the way for, people like me to do what I do. And it's fucking awesome. We do have an awesome community. I wish there was AHR a couple of times a year. I want to try to plan some kind of bash to invite people. I just don't know if people would be able to afford to do it multiple times, but not even, I'm talking about just like, hey, we're going to meet here for a weekend. It's just going to be like hang out, make content together. Everybody can make a little bit of stuff and just everybody be in one place and have a good time. Like maybe it is snowboarding or something, like, hey, meet here and everybody snowboard. Like, I just feel like that would be awesome. So
yeah, I would be down. That'd be sick.
Yeah, me and Ben have talked about it forever. We actually have to do it because, at least for me, like I want to go up and see Jeff and Mike soon in Jersey because they're not that far, and then also want to see Craig Migliaccio, AC Service Tech, because he's in Jersey too. I got a bunch of people close that I would love to go see and do that. Like not cross-platform, like cross-promotion kind of stuff, just because it's fun. So how many of us in you in the Visionaries now? It was 4, and now it's what, 5? Because Mikey Pipes or Jeffy Pipes. That's what it is.
No, so there was 5, and then it got down to just the 3 of them: Garrett and Efren and Adam. Because it was Jeffy and Anwar were in it, but then I think they just had their own stuff going on. You know, life just gets in the way, and you know, it's a lot of work. You know what we do, but I think that life just got in the way, and then it was just the 3 of them, and then for whatever reason they asked me. So,
how long have you been in it?
I've been in it since definitely like 4 months before AHR, so I guess almost a year.
Sweet. I always thought you guys should like, okay. Oh, that's cool, Jason. I can make it happen in Texas. That's fine. You said Texas has room for you, Gil. With you guys, since it's like a bunch of young guys, I'm like, if you guys do a spinoff of like a boy band, like making fun of it, you know what I mean? I've always thought that'd be fucking hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, I do think it's awesome for what you guys do, and I love seeing that, and it's seeing younger guys so excited about the trade. Fucking just gets my dick hard, but it's just because you didn't see that for the longest time, man. It used to be like younger guys. Yeah, the younger guys, it was like if you found one that was halfway decent, we would call them unicorns because you didn't see young guys that gave a fuck. You know, it was just a job, and all day they're fucking on their phone, not making videos, doing dumb stuff. So I do think it's very awesome for what you guys doing, for what you're doing. Just stick with it, man. Sometimes you got to play the long game. That's why I tell people, like, I heard some people say about like, not to go back, but like the fact that, winning like podcast of the year, if you look at the 3 people that have won, we've all been podcasting for like a fucking decade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't happen overnight, and it's, just keep going. What I don't want people to be like now, what the fuck? I don't want people to think, oh, I made a YouTube channel, I made an Instagram, and man, if I don't win a tactical award fucking the first year, then this is bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Like if you get rewarded, great. Like it feels awesome to get rewarded, but I wouldn't have changed what I was doing if I didn't get that, I am wearing special socks. Well, not right now, but not to change the subject. I'm telling you guys, these fucking socks are awesome. I got more coming. Dude, these things are badass. I mean, you know how it is when you could have nice boots, but then you're working in 95, 100-degree weather all day. Your feet are soaking wringing wet, just from sweating. Dude, not these ones, but I wore a pair all day and my feet are dry. Like I think it's magic. Now I just need some wool underwear, to try to fight against fucking swamp ass. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going to get some old lady knitting my fucking drawers.
I'm sure you can attest to this too, but like, I feel like there was a big thing for a long time where like people would, like the older techs always wanted to gatekeep like info. Like, oh yeah, I don't want like this guy to get better than me, so I'm not going to tell him how to do. So it's like, what was the point of that? And I always feel like social media was a good place to like, let's put everybody else on. If I learned something dope today that I didn't know, it's like, I want everybody to know about it. Cause it's like, we're already a trade that's, super short-handed. We're going to be coming into a crisis before too long. So it's like, why not put everybody else on to make everyone else better? Change what we do, So I just feel like the gatekeeping thing was so stupid for the longest time.
Yeah, like they would think like, oh, they're going to take my job. Like, no, they're not. Like, if anything, you're going to help yourself having other people that are better and know what they're doing at the company you work for. Like, and
if they start getting better than you, then it's time for you to level up again.
Exactly. That's your fault. If you get them and now they know more than you, that means that they're trying to better themselves and you're just stuck in your ways. Yeah. And that is a problem I see with not even like just people in general, is they learn just enough to be dangerous. Like they can get through majority of calls and then they stop trying to better themselves. It's like, don't stop. Like I still try to 23 something years now in the trade. I'm still trying to learn things and get better and hone in on stuff. Like that's just the way you have to be if you want to excel in this trade. And I feel like if you're really, really hungry, that even like you, like 5-6 years in the trade, if you're really hungry and you try to learn, you can be a damn good fucking technician in that 4, 5, 6 year range.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I even tell like something like the young guy. I mean, I'm young, but like even younger than me, it's like, dude, I can't tell you how many times like experience does not matter. And I will 100% go to my grave saying experience does not matter. I've met guys that are 15, 20-year-old guys that like don't know what static is, don't know how to use a combustion analyzer. It's like, dude, like if you are hungry enough, you can get up there quick. A lot of people just treat this as, oh yeah, it's my job 9 to 5. But people don't look like this is my career. Like whether you want to take this from point A to point B and, own your business or be like your lead technician, service manager, whatever you want to do, it's like you can do that as fast as you want to do it. Like, sure enough, if I'm a 2-year tech or something, it's whatever. Obviously I'm not going to be the lead technician or the service manager, but you could get up to that point. If you're a genius and can just, be an all-star, be a stud out there every single day, then yeah, dude, like that's what your boss would want. That's what your boss wants. And I think a big thing too, like that I try to preach, especially to like younger guys, is like, dude, I was not mechanically inclined in the slightest way before I got this job, before I started doing HVAC. Like whenever I was like young, all up until I was like 19, before I actually started HVAC, when I turned on the hot water, dude, I got hot water. So I was like, I didn't know there was no water here in the house or whatever. It's like, I want AC. It's like, cool. I hit this on and boom, it comes on. So like, like I can even remember like my first day being a helper, or not even my first day, it's like my first week. My lead told me, he was like, hey man, I want you to just go and put zip ties on all the insulation for the suction line. I'm like, okay, cool. Went up there, put all the zip ties on, put them all on backwards. None of them locked. So that just kind of shows you that I was not like, I had not a clue. I didn't know how to use tools, didn't know anything. So like for the guys that maybe listen to this podcast that want to get an HVAC that don't know a single thing, you don't need to know a single thing. You don't need to be mechanically inclined. If you're hungry enough and you want to get after it, you can learn everything. You can teach yourself. Obviously, don't be stuck in a job. If you don't like it, don't do it. But if you can teach yourself to enjoy it, teach yourself to get better at it, it's like the sky's the limit. You can go from 0 to 100 and however fast you want to go.
Yep. I agree 100%. If you treat this like a career and not just a job, then if you treat it like a job, that's all it'll ever be. Treat it like a career, then you can make it a career. As far as what you said, I'll switch it a little bit. This is how I feel. So I do think experience matters, but time in the trade doesn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
So, yeah. So, and to be, license doesn't matter. There's a bunch of guys that I know that are like, I have a master's license and I forgot more than they know. Granted, I have a master's license, but some of the best mechanics I ever met, they have no license, but they'll fix any fucking thing you put in front of them.
Yeah.
They're just, the guys are good like that. So, should you get licensed if it requires your state? Like, yeah, get it. It's good to have, you know what I mean? Just put that on your belt. But don't think that makes you like now all of a sudden that, oh, I know this. Because at least in Maryland, the journeyman's and the master's test, it's not technical questions. It's a bunch of code bullshit.
Yeah.
So as long as you could fucking, read the exactly. If you're book smart, you can do it. I mean, but it's not gonna do anything. And I always say this, that when the old guys retire off, that's like a fucking library burning down, because they're, a lot of these guys are a wealth of knowledge on things. And granted, a lot has changed. Like I remember when I first got into it with my dad, vacuum pump, put it on for 30 minutes, let it run 30, 45 minutes, take it off, break
take a cigarette, come back.
Yeah. I mean, that was, nobody was talking about microns or, using bigger hoses and not pulling through a manifold. Nobody said that shit. But you have to constantly be evolving. You have to. And I always tell people, like, the old guys that I work with, and I love that I learned from my dad and those old guys because they made me learn the right way. They wouldn't let me cut corners. You know, they're like, nah, fuck that. You're Gil's son. Nah, do that shit the right way. And I'm like, at the time it sucked, but I thank God every day that that's how I learned. But, shit, I forgot where I was going with that. Fuck, what was I going to say when I said that? I don't know where I was going.
I mean, as far as like that experience thing, yeah, that's 100% what I meant. Like experience 100% doesn't matter. Time though in the trade, I don't really think matters. I mean, obviously, like most 15-year guys are good guys. I mean, they've seen so much. They ran a lot. 100%. A lot of them are good. But also too, I feel like I see, and maybe it's just where I'm at too. But I see it. There's some guys like I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, but like they haven't done the right thing. They still continue to deny like the best way to do something. And those are the guys that, not only do they cut corners and stuff, but they also like don't give them the full answer. Like I can't tell you how many times I'll come up to a unit. It's like, oh, I had a guy out here. My unit was freezing up and, he filled it with some refrigerant and I go up to the unit and like, this thing is just juiced to the max and has no superheat and it's still freezing. I'm like, dude, like, I get it, like it's for the longest time, it's always been you have low airflow. It's like just add some more refrigerant, but it's like that's not how this stuff works anymore, dude. And that's more I was getting to is like there's a lot of people still like that.
Yeah. Oh, what I was going to say is those guys would tell me, they're like, you can't do anything I haven't already done. There's nothing that you can fuck up that I haven't already fucked up.
Right.
So I tell young guys, like, I don't care if you make mistakes, but make new mistakes.
New mistakes. Yeah.
Make a mistake, you learn from it. Make another mistake, you learn from it. That's how we grow. That's how all of us have got here. The guys that keep making the same mistake over and over, that's where you have a problem because they're not learning. They're not learning from what they're doing wrong. So that's just the way it has to be because the people that walk around with their butthole all tight and afraid to make a mistake, they end up making way more than they want to, and they're not learning from it. So. Hey, Leon, did you have Maryland first or Virginia? Because yes, they do reciprocate, but it used to be that's new. Virginia could reciprocate to Maryland, reciprocate to DC. Hold on, yeah, you could reciprocate from those states to Maryland, but you couldn't do Maryland to those states. Now they do. And Delaware, it's like a bunch of old white men that you just send your resume to, and they're like, okay, you're good. And they give you a license. So it's crazy. But man, we are we're way past an hour. I know we've gone a rant and talking about all kind of stuff, dude, but I appreciate you coming on, Logan. I really do, man. And I do truly love what you guys are doing with the visionaries. And I wanted to bring all you guys on individually so you get your own time. And then who knows, maybe we can do something down the road where you all come on at one time, like a hangout and just BS with you. But I think what you guys is doing is powerful. And I think maybe that you don't even realize how powerful it is. So that's why I say stick with it. Keep doing what you're doing. And I promise you that shit's going to blow up. I promise you it's going to blow up at some point. If you guys can just stick through get through the mud a little bit, and it'll definitely it'll break open at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I really, really appreciate you letting me come on and talk about it. I mean, this is a super, super dope experience, and I can't thank you enough. This is a great time.
Yeah, of course, man. And you're welcome back any time, man. So if something happens, something changes, you try to hop on, just hit me up, dude, and we'll make it happen. So yeah, please do that and stay in touch. And I'm glad to finally meet you. And then this AHR will finally be able to meet and hang out in person because I know we'll probably be at some of the same places.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah. Real fast before I get you off of here, how can everybody find you if they don't know where you are now?
So I'm on Instagram mainly, Snow King of HVAC, all one word. Also with the HVAC Visionaries, all one word. That's my main platform. That's where I'm at. I don't even have a Facebook or anything. But yeah, that's where you can find me. If you ever need help with anything, even if I don't know the answer, I can help you find the answer. But yeah, you ever need some advice, you just want to talk, you just want to be friends, always down. So hit me up.
That's awesome, brother. Thank you, Logan. I appreciate you, man. I'm going to close this out if you want to hang tight, my man.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Man, well, that's fun, man. I'm so glad that Logan came on. I have some of the other visionaries that are going to come on as well to do, individual shows. And I do love what they are doing, man. Seeing the younger guys, I feel like it gives me hope for our industry. It gives me hope for our trade that we are moving in the right direction, that we are getting some of the younger crowd in, and that we're filling this kind of drought or this hole that we put ourselves into, if that makes sense. So I love what they do. If you listen to this and God forbid you are not following the HVAC Visionaries on Instagram, please go do that and then follow each individual member as well. So the Visionaries is where all four of them post stuff, and then they all have their own individual page. Obviously, Snow King of HVAC is Logan. Last week, what is he? G Tory HVAC, I think he does. Yeah, G Tory HVAC. That's Garrett, which is a local Maryland guy. You have the Wolf of HVAC, and I know there's other ones. I don't want to mess them up, but if you go on the Visionaries, you'll find all of them, and go follow these guys, man. Follow them, support what they're doing, especially if you love this trade, because maybe you're an older guy and maybe what they do doesn't help you per se. By you supporting them, you're supporting the industry, and that's how I feel. So, maybe I've been in the industry and maybe nothing they do technically, I'm technically going to learn from, which I very well could. I'm not saying I don't, but if God forbid I wasn't learning from their video, I still love what they're doing because I know it gives back to the trade that I love. You know what I mean? So, yes, it's awesome. So make sure that you go do that. And let me make sure I don't have to say anything here. C. Young. Oh, Mr. Adrian came in. What's up, Mr. C. Young? Brian Sanders. Who else was in here that I might have missed? Obviously, HVAC Nate. Even though he wasn't giving me love at first, he was giving it all to Logan. I'm fucking nobody. Just fucking around. I appreciate all of you being here. Back on track. Shows getting booked up. I'm gonna start. Let me ask you this: would you guys be interested if I was putting things out on social media so you know who the guest is gonna be, like before the day of? Because if you want to, I can start doing that, especially when the show books out. Because I have Tommy Mello is booked again. I love Tommy. As far as business owners, I love Tommy. He's one of the most genuine dudes you'll ever meet. So Tommy's coming on in a couple of weeks. I can't wait to do that one and a couple other ones. So if you guys like that, let me know and I'll start putting something out so you can see that. But with that being said, I'm going to start closing this thing out. Make sure you follow the podcast on all the social media sites to stay up to date on everything that's going on with the show. And also, if anybody is interested in any kind of one-on-one or any kind of training that I can give you, whether it's technical, just talking to you about things, let me know if you'd be interested because I'm going to do it online through Zoom calls and stuff like that. A lot of people have reached out to me, so I'm going to set that up so that I can start trying to do some one-on-one or maybe some small groups to be able to help people and as best as I can. So if that's something you're interested in, you can email me at info@hvacuncensored.com. And I think it's going to be a good time. So I thought something popped up. But yeah, let me close this thing out. I'm getting fucking long-winded again. Guys, stay safe out there. We all have somewhere to make it to. We all have somebody to make it home to. Keep your head on a swivel when you're driving. Make sure the breaker's turned off. I say all that stuff. Just please, please be safe out there. We live in a crazy world. Please, please be safe. I do not want to hear that any of my HVAC brothers and sisters did not make it home, especially for something stupid. So please, please be safe. All right? Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. Keep trying to be the best version of you. All right. Keep stepping your game up. There's no such thing as staying the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. Point blank, period. Nowadays, there's no reason to say, I don't know. If you don't know, it's because you didn't want to know. Podcast, YouTube, online courses, books, whatever it is, we can learn anything nowadays. All right. Keep pushing yourself. No matter what it is, even if it's your extracurricular activities, keep pushing yourself to be the best version of you. All right. With that being said, I love you, mofos, and I'll talk with y'all next week. All right. Stay safe. I love you. See you.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Real fast, Sam, answer to your question. Did have an issue with ShipStation, but it was on our end. Yours is good. Yours had to be reshipped, so you should have that soon. Freon Leon, send me your address again, man. If you did, I didn't see it. Somehow yours got deleted. So send me your address again. I apologize. Had an issue with ShipStation. It was actually my fault. I set it up fucked up, and my wife went to do it. I kind of set her up to fail, but it's all taken care of now. But I did had to. They came back to my house, and I had to reship them. Sam, yours is good, but Freon Leon, I need your address again. Somehow the original email got deleted, so that's my bad. All right. See ya.